Hi there, welcome back to My Dear Mandarin. I'm Selena Liu, and in this series, we discuss why to learn Mandarin. In the previous video, we talked about the differences between English and Mandarin. If you haven't watched it, click the video in the top right corner. And since you've clicked this video, I guess you must want to learn Mandarin. And you may have the idea about Mandarin that there are traditional Mandarin characters and simplified Mandarin characters. But what are the differences and which one should I choose to learn? Well, in today's video, we're going to tell you the differences between traditional Mandarin characters and simplified Mandarin characters. By understanding the differences will help the learning process much easier. So let's get started! First, used in different areas. In the last video, we mentioned that Mandarin characters are used to write in Chinese people's daily life. And traditional Mandarin characters and simplified Mandarin characters are both for writing in Chinese. As the names imply, simplified Chinese characters are extensions from traditional Chinese characters, and the simplified Chinese characters were promoted and moderated by the government of the People's Republic of China in 1950s to 1960s in order to encourage literacy. Simplified Mandarin characters are now used in mainland China, Singapore, and Malaysia, while traditional Mandarin characters still remain in common use in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Second, strokes of characters. As we've said just now, simplified Chinese characters are extensions from traditional Chinese characters. Traditional Mandarin characters are more complicated because they have more strokes than their simplified versions. Some of the simplified Chinese characters are simplified based on the cursive embodying graphic or phonetic simplifications of the traditional form. And many simplifications have the same rules. For example, characters with Chinese radical of Bian are like this in all the traditional Chinese characters with this radical, but this way in simplified characters. For some characters with the same pronunciation were merged and left the characters with the simplest form. But actually, not every character in simplified characters simplified strokes from the traditional ones. Still, many of them remain their traditional strokes. And some characters with more strokes in traditional version can reflect more accurately the original form of the character, which means it's easier to guess the meaning of the character. For example, the character I, which means love as a word. The traditional one has a radical xing, which means heart in the middle of the character. But the simplified character I removed the heart. But you should love your family and friends by heart, isn't it? Third, 注音 and pinyin. People who uses simplified Mandarin characters learn with pinyin, but as for people who uses traditional Mandarin characters, they learn with 注音. The difference between the two is minimal, but for pronunciation, 注音 is definitely superior to pinyin. Because pinyin looks just like the English alphabet. Well, it may confuse your pronunciation since there are still subtle differences between the similar sounds in English and Mandarin. So, if you want to pronounce more precisely like a native speaker, then learning a new system of pronunciation could be helpful. Then, I think 注音 might be a good way to go. Number 4, a point of view from aesthetics. Some people consider Mandarin characters as a form of art, just like calligraphy, which means 书法 in Mandarin. But these features are only found on traditional Mandarin characters. The simplified version got rid of many elements of the characters for the sake of simplicity. I know it's going to be more challenging learning traditional Mandarin characters, but if you could master the traditional ones, then the simplified version is gonna be a piece of cake for you. You can know the simplified characters in a minute if you know the traditional ones. If you ask me, traditional Mandarin characters, simplified Mandarin characters, which one should I choose? Then I will say it depends on you. Because whether you choose the traditional version or the simplified version, you will have barely any obstacles when you communicate with either of their users. If you want to learn it quickly, you want a simple one, and you want to do business in China, then maybe simplified Chinese characters are what you need. But if you want to speak more precisely like a native speaker, and you are interested in Taiwanese culture or Chinese history, I think Zhuwing and traditional Mandarin characters are better because they are more original, they keep the historic Chinese aesthetics. So, if you're into learning traditional Mandarin or Mandarin in general, this is the right place for you. And if you have any question, you're welcome to comment below and discuss with us. And please be sure to like and subscribe for more weekly Mandarin content. And this is for today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!